Manuete out, good morning, and how are you, faithful Captain Niner here with your Captain and Coffee Morning Report before January 5th, aka the last 49ers game day of the 2024/25 season. Yeah, it's been a long season. I know I just recently started doing all these morning updates and everything, but it seems to have gathered quite a little following and everything, so I'm glad I started. And we'll be continuing it more, but that'll be. I'll have to do another TikTok a little bit later, depending on how today goes, describing how we're going to do the rest of the off season with some of this stuff. All right, some news. Jauan Jennings has been fined for being a man, and what I mean by that is the NFL fined Jauan Jennings was $11,817. Why it is such an absolutely random ass number like that, no one knows. But basically, that was from the play where he blocked the guy out of the end zone and kept blocking him until the whistle blew. Again, like I said, he got fined for playing football the way you're supposed to, and for, as the old hockey thing goes, 2 minutes for being a man. Jauan Jennings has been fined almost 12 grand for being a man. It's ridiculous. Excuse me. It's a ridiculous amount of money for a play that you were taught to do as a child that you play until you hear the whistle. Could he have stopped when he got out of the end zone? Maybe. But when you're busy blocking somebody, are you really taking notice of where you are on the playing field? Or are you just going to continue blocking until you hear the whistle or the guy's on the ground? Both the Detroit Lions, both the guy he blocked and the guy that kind of smacked the back of his head and pushed him, they were both fined the $11,000 and then $8,000 respectively. So yeah, good job NFL. You made some money on a guy playing exactly how you want to play. All right, let's get back to some game day stuff. All right, obviously, a quick reminder for who is out this week. Defensive end Robert Beal Jr., lineman Spencer Burford, cornerback Diamador Lenore, wide receiver Deebo Samuel, and Brock Purdy. Those are the guys that we already knew were going to be out. All right. And then as far as the moves the Niners made this week to compensate for that, obviously we have to make some room on the active roster. So we put both Demetrius Flannigan-Fowle and offensive lineman Spencer Burford on the IR. With those guys, we elevated, we promoted defensive lineman Alex Barrett and linebacker Deshaun White, both from the practice squad. And then in standard elevations, we got Trent Taylor and Drake Nugent. So those guys will all be playing, or at least be up on the active roster today. So that's all that. So a couple of things to watch for today. There are still some things for this team to be playing for today. Obviously not when it comes to like draft status or anything like that. Just some personal things for this guy. Back to Jauan Jennings, yet again. Needs 77 yards in order to get his first 1,000 yards receiving of his career. Never even come close. I think the most he had was like 400 and some odd yards in previous years. Again, it's the most productive year of his career. We always known him as 3rd and 1 because for the most part he wasn't quite utilized that much on the first couple of downs on this, but always showed up on 3rd down. So again, hopefully he gets that today. I know him and quarterback Josh Dobbs, who is starting for Brock Purdy today, they go back to their Tennessee days, so there is a connection with those two. So hopefully they can rekindle that a little bit from back from their volunteer days and get him that $1,000. Not sure if there's any. So I'm not sure, but I'm sure there's some sort of incentive like thing if he does indeed hit that 1,000 yards. Also, Will Kittle, for the second time in his career, hit 10 touchdowns for a season. It only happened once before. He has 8 today, so obviously he just needs 2 more in order to hit 10, which would be obviously a great season for pretty much most people. It's kind of weird when you think about how good George is in the passing game, and yet he's only eclipsed 10. Gotten to that double-digit number once before when it comes to touchdowns. So again, a good day for him to possibly do that. If George got, let's say, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns, and JJ got 110 yards, kind of a thing, I think that'd be satisfying for a lot of people to see those guys hit those numbers. Also with numbers, Leonard Floyd. I know a lot of people are disliking Leonard Floyd. I don't think he's quite been utilized correctly this season. He should not be an every down lineman, which is what we've had to do with him due to injuries and stuff like that. Because he's absolutely not worth being on the field as against the run, but as a pass down specialist, I think he'd be fine in that role. And I hope maybe the way the draft goes, we can get some guys in there to play so that he can slide over to being just a pass specialist more next season. We will see. But right now he is at 8.5 sacks. He is averaging about 9.5 to 10 a year, which is kind of what the 10 sacks is what we kind of were wanting out of him. So yeah, if he can get just a sack and a half today, he's on his average. And you know what? I know a lot of people have an issue with the amount of money that he's being paid. He's been paying big money to be an every down back, but he never was an every down back. But if he's getting 10 sacks next year, 10 to 12 or whatever, and he's playing a third of the time, which he has been playing less and has been getting better as the years gone on. I think that's going to be a benefit to him and to the team going into next season. Also, when it comes to sacks, Nick Bosa needs 4 to tie Charles Haley in second all time with 60. Let me double check. 66 and a half sacks. So Bosa right now has 62 and a half. Neither of them are going to catch, or he is, I shouldn't say neither of them. He is not going to catch Bryant Young at 89 for a half. That's probably going to take him minus just an absolute crazy year, probably another 2-ish years, 2.5 to get that number. But again, 4 needed for Bosa to tie Charles Haley at second all time. So again, there are some things to look at for today for these guys to play for. I don't think Bosa gets a bonus or anything like that. Maybe Floyd gets one for hitting 10. I'm not sure about contract, but Bosa's not going to get one for tying Charles Haley. That's just a mark on him with everything. He's already the highest paid defensive player in the league, everything. So that's what we got to look for today. Hopefully, I'm hoping all 4 of those guys hit those marks, end the season with a win. Those 4 things, and at least it'll be a good ending going into the offseason. And then we'll see what everybody's, see what happens coming up with free agency, drafts, re-signings, all that kind of stuff. All right, faithful. For those of you who have been on this little couple of month journey thing that I've been doing early morning, thank you very much. It has been fun. I will continue doing this up until, because obviously there's going to come a point to where news is just going to come to a stop. So we might start doing it every other day, weekly. We'll see how everything's going. I also have to figure out how this is going to go into with all our Niner Faithful radio stuff. So, all right, Faithful, let's get this dub today. And 5 Tie Lava. One love.